Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question that is, why do we ignore the red flags when we are getting sort of involved or sucked in the relationships with someone who is narcissistic? Why do we kind of have that sneaky gut feeling and don't heed it, don't listen, do not self-respect in those crucial moments? I feel it's really a matter of a deficit or a lack of self-respect. So a self-esteem deficit. If you have that undergirding in, the predominant solar plexus of your physical being, in that area right above the navel, that you can kind of feel if you swivel. If you have sort of a built up tension that you hold on there, that's kind of a chronic ongoing discomfort, you have to realize and heed that. And if you, it will, because it'll do exactly what you tell it to, and it'll just play again and again. It's like it loves to have commands. It works by commands. It has sort of an objective, if you will, mechanism, a survival, natural life force mechanism and energy that's going to propel that. But when it's pushed down because it's clouded by an interference of different gaslighting and different things that have, transpired in the relationship, that you find that, somehow, you didn't see it coming and it was at an inopportune time, it's the perfect setup. It's the perfect storm. You have to go to a gathering or an event where there's people, and then, you start to see some things, by your peripheral vision. You start to kind of wonder about things. Or maybe it was just an ongoing day to day when, I should have noticed, I should have, stopped then. I think a lot of people who really get sort of drawn into that narcissistic energy of those people who want to be that center of attention, but don't give you that sort of respect in return, especially if it's based in early childhood and for even just survival sense, just basic, rudimentary, raw survival sense. You had the fight or flight. It's just an automatic, instinctual, energy moving forth for your prosperity, for your happiness, for your life, where everything kind of kicks in and you know what to do and when, and it's just, there's not a disturbance, there's just that clarity and flow. That is, that's the true nature. So you have to understand, get really down deep, that the true nature of your being is to be, coherent, and is to be at a relaxed, intensity, not just, clutching on in certain areas of the shoulders or certain areas. So if you find, so what I'm trying to explain is that the red flags, if you don't have that base of self-esteem in that deep area, you won't grab that like a, like a fish, going for a worm. You won't pay attention. You won't grab that thought and go, let me look at that, and then look at that thought and say, whoa, that is too much. I need to do something now. It might have just come in a flicker, but if you don't feel in those moments, those pivotal, crucial moments, which are, at the subconscious level, life-changing, and life, especially for direction and decision-making, when we're understanding, really raking through, if you will, and pulling and getting some separation of kind of the feelings and emotions and thoughts that were going on all at that time. I hope you're following me. But when you are in a relationship with someone who is oppressive, condescending, critical, the judgment, the smug look, as if, you need to see who's boss, and that boss is I, or, in terms of just how they feel, about how they relate to people, and they feel how their position should always be set up. But the issue is that in those pivotal moments when there were red flags, when you go, you know what, this has gone on too far. I can't believe that he would be this dishonest at this stage of our relationship. You want to burst the bubble, but you don't go for the golden ring. If you don't have it, and the issue is at those moments, if you do not have self-esteem and self-respect backing you up, so on your really the deepest layer of your being, which is a very, just very soft, light, just sort of fluffy, almost, just what they call high vibration or high energy, meaning you're more just sort of particle than matter. You're more light than particle, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says it. You're just sort of relaxed in your being. You're not tense. You're just there. You can be present, and it's a great intellectual place to be, because that's where you're at your best, your optimal performance. Just like a car with everything it needs, you're running great, But if you have that encounter or that crossroads where you learned something or something went too far and you go, whoa, this just, popped it all. And if you did, and that was the red flag for you, personally, significantly, and uniquely you in your heart, which is basically, your heart is just like this incredibly energetic feeling directive, which is ruled by the mind or somehow shaped and structured by some of the logic that the mind tries to mesh with it, and it has to be that balance. But anyway, if you, in those pivotal moments when you saw the red flags but just went, you know what, I'm just going to go with it anyway, I'm going to do it anyway, I'm going to shut up and suffer it anyway, this is the best I can get right now. And then, in other words, it becomes a matter of I can barely tolerate, or, and you're sort of numbing out, or really what ends up happening is you're curtailing the proper decision-making and thoughts that could have taken you along a different trajectory, basically meaning a different life path, a different way of looking at things. When you have yourself there backing yourself up at the root and core of your being. In other words, hey, I can stand up for myself. I am running it. In other words, I am clear, I'm coherent, and I'm running. In other words, my actions are perfectly matching my values and my being. And that is, where you start getting into nirvana states, or whatever you say, your life is awesome and you're just enjoying every moment and you're happy and you have enough people around you. You have enough, good human contact, warmth, or whatever it is that's stimulating for you, that is elevated. But if you, in those moments when you saw that and you don't feel, essentially, if you feel incapable, and just being rigorously honest and clear, if at those pivotal moments, to understand that in your relationship life, you are going to have pivotal, significant moments that are colossal, gigantic, magical, on that sublime, really great times. Maybe you went to Disneyland, maybe you went snorkeling, maybe you went surfing, whatever it is. You have these this is the top of the game, and so if you, but in those moments though, if you feel incapable of acknowledging the red flags to be able to handle it. So if you feel inadequate, if you feel that your skill set does not match what the change of the relationship is delivering. In other words, just straight out, clear cut, transparent, time to go, time to say no, time to exit, time to move it. If you have those thoughts, okay, but you don't have, in other words, in that being, in that solar plexus, we're talking about what's going on with you physically, inside, internally. In other words, getting to, we're getting a feel for how your mind and your emotions work, because, wow, you got to get that in balance. But when you're with someone who is narcissistic or psychopathic, that whole operating system is got like a wrong command. You got someone who's punching something else in there that is screwing up how that mechanism is working. It's like faulty input is going to create this chaotic mechanism where oftentimes then if you're sensitive and coming in those red flag moments come in, but deep inside, back in your being, in your solar plexus, in that very, etheric place when you're really at the still and the utmost just sort of clarity. If you in those moments don't feel capable of being able to make that change, and then so you agree unconsciously to suffer and take the path of suffering, which is really a path of learning. I still need to learn more. I need more information, so I am going to move forward. So the path, even from that crossroads, is the being saying, this is my opportunity for learning, and this is what I'm here for. So it is, and this is why I am here. And it just, you choose a path in those moments. And really sometimes how deep they are very deep, really the spring of your life, whenever that was. You can have multiple springs, but when the soil is moist, it's healthy, it's nourished, it's enriched, it's not been had all the life sucked out of it. It hasn't been stripped of its nutrients or overcultivated. So in other words, if in those pivotal moments, if that fertile ground or that ground, that location, how you feel about yourself when it's just like bing, these two things are coming together and it creates like this spark in you. If you chose that path, then it's to say, then I will learn about the red flags. It's like almost you're just making a commitment to yourself. Namely, you got to say and shake hands with yourself and understand that was myself who is operating that. It's just like, hey, waking up in those moments, getting an understanding, or maybe you're an adult, we're at parties or you've got so many things going on, you can barely have a moment to think and sort it out. So you half sort it out and then you get back going. You need time to have the privacy, like in these videos, these few moments, to be able to lay it all out. I've never laid it all out before. Oh, well, then let's do that. Take it, step by step and lay it all out. And if you could see those red flags and see it objectively, as if you were speaking to a good friend who you really admire and you kind of respected and liked, and this is what happened, and they told you the story, and you'd say, go that way. If you can see it from that objective level, which is the great role of metacognition, which in psychology is being able to think about what you think about and sort of reflect back, like in our memory, you can understand then sort of what was going on, which is a wonderful thing to make peace with, to make amends with, to say, you know what, I was here all the time, sister girl. I was here all the time, brother. I was here all the time, dude. I was, it's in other words, you think you're abandoned, but it's taking that path. If in those moments, if you did not feel capable, all these different things will transpire is what I'm trying to express. And so, that is then, you basically then that becomes in the clearing, we're able to then clear it out, able to say, it really is time now to make a change. When you've got that guttural feeling and whatever it is, you've got to get it right. What do you have to get right? Is it your relationships, your sleeping, your medication? Are you not well? Have you not visited a doctor? Are you too blue to be blue to be blue? Are you too down, that you can't, you've got like an anvil over you, or you just feel lethargic, you're not smiling, and you need that kickstart, that jump start. You need a jump start. And when you get the jump starts, you'll be able to better see the red flags and being like, nope, I'm not attracted to that. I can see through that. You develop like a new layer of emotional vision. You can see it for what it is. You don't have to lie to yourself. You know what? You're making peace with yourself. Hey, nice to meet me. I am at peace with me now. Once you understand, I think a lot of maybe psychoanalysis is sort of really clearing through. I almost envision it like a rake. Have you ever seen like the beautiful Japanese gardens? I mean, these meditative Zen gardens, the Japanese gardens that have like the raked, very fine sands, and then they'll have like some fountains and some sculptures, and it's very serene. But they rake through these sort of stones, and that's kind of how I feel. They create this sort of very zen-like garden, and the raking, to me, it's like it's an instrument, really a spiritual instrument of creation. It's man's connection to the earth, and then just gently, connecting its influence. And it's like coming clear. It's just pure. It's just flow, and the substance isn't corroded, and the tool isn't corroded in the process. What I'm trying to suggest, and I use a lot of analogies. And by the way, thank you for your viewership. I really appreciate your support and your comments, and keeping us posted and catching us up with how you're doing. We love to hear from you. Thank you so much for your support and believing in me to help you to see the belief that lives in you. I want you to understand that belief lives in you, but we have to understand and go through some of these analogies so you can kind of feel it. I mean, a lot of us have ever raked, out in the yard, and so you understand that sort of deliberate combing through, getting the gunk out, and just how that muscle feels when you're sort of exerting your deliberate intention. It's the feeling then of intention that is broken down, and that's where you learn intention then, is at that deep layer. When you're then learning, once you have that self-esteem and that self-respect combed through, getting through those layers, like the Zen Japanese garden, you've got maybe just the one up here is like the top, and then you're going down, and these are all the various experiences and years and conversations and looks and feelings and real, formative years impact that are sort of in that. So, but in sorting it out, getting the knots out, getting the neuro tangles, in that sort of spastic thought pattern ceased, getting that, and if you need to meditate to cultivate and nurture that, then you need to. It is like an exercise. You need to do those sitting moments, learning to consciously calm your body down. You're learning to have a little internal conversation with yourself. Hey self, I'm just going to let you know we're going to go into relax mode. And then you develop that intention. And when it's done, that one intention of feeling is done with that base root of respect for the self. In other words, it's that living energy undisturbed, if you will. And you have to own that. You have to own that. You have to say that runs through me, and it's just nothingness. It's just nothingness. And to have that trust, whoa, have that trust, and in that feeling, and to know that is there is really the ultimate go-to, and to have that trust, especially when you have experienced distrust for so long, it's hard to cultivate that state of trust. Because if you have had so many upsets, so many disappointments, so many addictions, so many withdrawals, so many, detoxes, it's been this kind of lifestyle. It's been, this momentum. It's been this way. Then, you have to be able to say, whoa, the road needs a clearing within. I mean, that is a feeling, okay? It's knowing kind of what backs up. It's like the backup drive to the backup drive, and knowing what's like your ultimate core, life energy backup drive, which is that pure undisturbed life force, and being able to trust and rely on it, whether it's undisturbed, and just allow and cultivate that feeling state where you're completely releasing all matter from your body, just releasing all matter. Meaning I am just completely detached for a moment, and I'm practicing and I'm exercising this state. So in this allowing of being, you develop a natural homeostasis and learn to have that sort of internal dialogue, so that when you have that core of self-respect and adherence, which can't be unglued. Once you have that, it is just the life force that you've acknowledged and said, yeah, hey, you are, I am, and owning that and just allowing that presence and trusting that when you are in that state, you'll be able to self-identify when things are awry or what things to avoid, when to step in and be, participate, and when to say, that touch wasn't right, that act wasn't right, or how, the manipulation could be part of what are they trying to get from you, etc. So it's very important that you understand. So for moving forward, what if you're trying to get in a new relationship and you're hyper vigilant, or you don't know how to enter it, or you're just trying to understand now and reprocess things? Is that that you have to have that self-respect, and then that degree of intention, and then being able to deal with it in a matter of grace that suits you. Maybe it's executed right in the moment. Maybe you've gotten a well enough grip, and then you have kind of in the back of your mind, I'm going to take a couple days to deal with this, and then you do. But a lot of people let that suffrage go on and on and on because they don't have the tools, they don't have the knowledge, they can't open up, they don't have the privacy to think or write, they don't know who to connect to and who's going to get this. So that is why I feel a lot of people ignore the red flags in these toxic relationships. This is your buddy. Peace and harmony with you here today. And I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and definitely please donate for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support. Peace out. Have a beautiful day.